Hello again. Today I'd like to share a little bit more about my bedroom workspace. So this is a place where I spend about 12 to 16 hours on average every day, whether it is because I'm working, gaming, video editing, or even just casually like surfing Reddit, YouTube, etc. right? So for a place where you spend so much of your life in, it is important to keep iterating, enhancing, and improving the place for your own comfort and sometimes even for your own health reasons. So the last update that we did was back in June, where I wall mounted my secondary display and I set up some of the backlighting for my monitors. And it's been a while since then, and I've noticed a lot of different other problems, which led me to go back to the drawing board and rethink how I wanted to use this workspace. Hence today, I would like to announce the newly revamped and completed Workspace version 13. There were a couple of key problems that I wanted to solve going into the redesign of this fresh workspace setup. The first problem was thermals. Because of the PC's location under the desk, and it was kind of situated in a little bit of a corner, right? It was generating a lot of heat that was animating throughout the underneath area of the desk, and this made sitting at this desk, especially during long sessions of gaming, quite uncomfortable. The second problem was the secondary display. Even though it was really great and useful for productivity reasons, having it mounted to the left of my main display meant that I was frequently turning my head to the left. And there were occasions where I was using it for extended periods of time, and what I found was that it gave me really bad neck aches. The third problem was the entrance view. With this secondary display mounted on the left of the main display, the view when you first enter the room would be completely blocked. In the past, what I had was a very minimalist look where you could see a clean desk space and you could see and perhaps enjoy that wall-mounted main display. But what was replaced with was this secondary monitor that was kind of in your face with the cables running out of it, and a lot more cables were also visible against the wall as well. The fourth problem that I was facing was the whiteboard. Every time I used the whiteboard, right, and after I had to wipe it clean, it would leave behind a lot of dirt on the table itself. So this meant that every time I wiped the whiteboard, I would also have to wipe the table, which was really troublesome. The last issue was the DSLR mount. I really liked the DSLR and using it for my video conference meetings because it gave the best picture quality as well as that really nice natural bokeh. However, it also meant that I would have so many cables running out from the back of my monitor, across my table, etc. that it didn't really look very good. As for going back to just using my old regular webcam, my Logitech C510, right? I've had it for I think more than 5 years now, and it was also starting to die on me and having a lot of autofocus issues. The first thing I did was to shift my PC out from underneath my desk to the table. And now I have it at the edge nearer to the door. So this helps firstly in terms of improving the thermals. Of course, there's no longer any heat under the table that would make me uncomfortable. But more importantly, it also provided a lot more cool, fresh air to the computer itself, which would also be better for my GPU and CPU. It also helps that in this new location, my IPX case can now be shown in its full glory, rather than being hidden under the table. Anyone coming into my room would be able to see it and properly appreciate it for its minute size. The second most important change I made was to shift my secondary display to a new location. I considered shifting it to the right, but I thought that eventually that would just mean that I would always be looking to my right side and maybe I'll just be transferring the neck ache from my left side to my right. But I realized over time that actually, right, the whiteboards that I had above my main display that I was always looking up at to look at my notes and etc., that was actually the perfect placement for this secondary monitor. So I removed the whiteboards and I shifted the secondary display to its own wall mount above my main display. And this also gave a very clean look overall. Now when you come into the room from the door, you don't see that monitor blocking your view, and instead you see two monitors flush against the wall, which looks really good. As for my whiteboards, I shifted them to the other side of my room, where now if I have to use it, I kind of have to walk over, which is actually a good thing because this forces me to move around the room a little bit more and walk around a little bit more, and I guess that would be a little bit better for health reasons rather than being seated at the desk for 12 to 16 hours a day. And the last thing I did was to remove the DSLR mount and remove my old C510 webcam, and I replaced it with this Logitech C922 webcam. It gives a very good resolution and video output, and most importantly, because it's now just back to being a single USB cable, I can hide it very cleanly as part of my setup. To achieve this very clean look, I had to go back to the drawing board to pre-plan all of my cable management, whether it is for my PC or for my two displays. For the PC, it was a lot more straightforward, but for the display, there were way too many cables to go down the thin cable track that I had. We're talking about a DVI cable for the Dell, a DisplayPort cable for the Prism X340, two power cables, two more USB cables for the backlight, and one more USB cable for the webcam. That was way too many cables to stuff down this thin cable track that effectively could actually only hold at max maybe 3 or 4 cables. So what I did instead was I bought this LDNIO power strip off Lazada, and by running this power strip, right, I could effectively remove all the power cables from the cable track and have it all connected to this power strip instead, thereby only needing one power cable to go down the cable track along with the two display cables. I did run into a slight issue though, because the transformer or something in the LDNIO power strip couldn't handle the load from the LED backlights, and it was creating this buzzing sound that was really irritating, and at times it almost felt dangerous. So I bought a separate Anker USB charger instead to power the backlight. Overall, I think this setup looks really pretty with the individual backlights for both the Dell display and the Prism display. After having used this setup for about a week now, I really like this new workspace. In terms of productivity, I still have my full range of my two displays connected across my 4 different computers. And in terms of comfort level, because of the way I'm seated on a day-to-day basis, usually most of the time, I just need to glance up rather than really bend my whole head upwards to use the secondary display. And it's worked really well for me so far. The additional benefit to this setup is also being able to stand occasionally. So I use this cheap laptop desk that I bought from NTUC Supermarket sort of as a table for my keyboard and mouse, which converts this into a standing desk of sorts. So this is Workspace 13, the result of rethinking this entire workspace from the ground up and paying attention to actual feedback from users. Anyway, that's all I have for today, so thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next one.